Alright, so this video is going to cover the more difficult practice recursion problems. So I'm actually going to go down, instead of just working them out, because these are actually fairly hard to write out, and the pen that I have is just really awful on the computer. So instead, what I'll do is I'm just going to go through this, the answers, and walk through with you how I got the answers, okay? So so we've got this for number one, public void call, which passes in K, okay? And K is 5 at first. All right, so that's where this comes in, call to 5, all right? So is 5 greater than 1? Yes. So what do? We do 5 minus 2, which is 3, 5 minus 1, which is 4, and then we print 5. So this call right here gets brought down here with this arrow to call 3, and call 3 does 3 minus 2, which is 1. Sorry, let's see here. 3 minus 2, which is 1. 3 minus 1, which is 2, so it goes down to call 2, and then prints 3. So is 1, so for this one, is 1 greater than 1? Nope, so that's done. Okay, so call 2 comes down here. What's 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 is not greater than 1, so that's done. 2 minus 1 is 1, so 1's not greater than 1, so that's done. And so then it prints 2. So the first thing it prints is 2 right here. Okay, then we got to go back up the stack, and this one gets printed, so it prints 3. Then we go back up the stack, and all of this call 3 is done. So we're doing call 4 right here. Okay, call 4 minus 2 is 2. 4 minus 1 is 3. And so call 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, so that's done. 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1's not greater than 1, so that's done. And then, so it prints 2, so 2 gets printed down here. All right. Did I do this? Okay. So then it goes back up, and it prints 4. Right? So then we go back up here and call 3. And I think my arrows are screwed up here. Let me see here. 5 would be called. Yeah, I found an error in mine. So this is here. This should be on this 2, and this should be on. That's what was screwing me up. Okay, so anyway, we get this one done, it prints 2. We go back up the stack. We get this one done, it prints 3. We go back up the stack. 4 gets called. 4 minus 2 is 2. That gets down over here. So 2 minus 2 is 0. That's done. 2 minus 1 is 1. That's done. Then it prints 2 right here. Then we go back up the stack and we do this call 3. That's where I was getting confused looking at these arrows going, that's not right. So anyway, call 3 gets called. Call 3 minus 2 is 1, so that gets done. 2 minus 2 is, 3 minus 1 is 2, so that gets done over here, okay? So then we've got to call 2, which 2 minus 2 is 0, then 2 minus 1 is 1, so those both get done. And then we have print 2, which is this one, and then we start popping back up this stack. So you got print 3, print 4, and then finally print 5, okay? Again, just think about it like the Russian doll. You've got to go down to its final layers before you can kind of, pop back up, All right. So sorry about that. I had paused that for a minute and I was looking at that going, yeah, I did that wrong. So I worked that out in my head. I gotta switch this document up before I put it up online for you guys. Okay, so next one we got this recur 3. So if n is less than or equal to 2, then we print n and we return. Recur 3 as n minus 1, and so must be 5 that gets passed in first. So 5 gets passed in here. 5 is not less than or equal to 2, so then we do 5 minus 1 is 4, and then we print 5 minus 2, which would be 3, and then recur 3 does 5 minus 3. So then we do this recur 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. We print 2 here, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so 3 is not less than or equal to 2, so we'd run this one and we say recur 2, which is what 3 minus 1 is 2. We've got a 3 minus 2, which is 1, and a 3 minus 3, which is 0. Okay, so in this case, 2, when we pass 2 in, that's less than or equal to 2, so that it prints n, which is 2, so it prints 2 right here, okay? Let's see if we can just bring this up. Do that. So I don't have to keep going up and down. Okay, so then we got print 1, that prints, and then recur 3, 0 is less than or equal to 3, so it does this print ln and it prints 0. Okay, we go back up the stack, we got to print 2, 2 prints here, recur 1, 1 is less than or equal to 2, so it prints 1 right there. And then we go back up, we print 3, and then 2 is less than or equal to 2, so we print 2 right there. Okay. So again, I don't know where you guys are at, but once you guys get the feel of these kind of tables, you should fly through this stuff, especially where most of you are at with math. You guys should understand this pretty darn well. Okay, we've got this int weirder, where we've got an r and an s that are ints that are passed in. If r is equal to 0 or s, then we turn 1, else we do weirder, which is r minus 1 comma s plus r minus 1 comma s minus 1. So r is 3 and s is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2, so 2 comma 2 gets passed in. R is not equal to S and it's not equal to 0, so we do, what do we do here? Wait, right here they are equal, sorry. So that returns 1, and that's where I've got that right there, okay? Then we come down here, 2 comma 1, they're not equal, or they're not equal, R is not equal to 0, so we got 2 comma 1. So 2 minus 1 and s is 1, that returns 1 right here because they're the same. And then r is 1 because 2 minus 1 is 1, and then s is 1 minus 1, which is 0. So r is not equal to 0, and r and s are not equal, so this needs to come down. We've got 1 comma 0. So what do we got here? R is 0, so because it's 0, it returns 1. And then R is 0 here, so it returns 1. So this is 1, this is 1. We add them together, that's 2. 2 gets popped back up the stack to right here. And then 1 plus 2, and I wrote it down, 1 plus 2 is 3. That 3 gets popped back up the stack. Then 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay. Number 4, unknown, we got n and r. If n is 0 or r is less than 0 or r is greater than or equal to n, then we return 1, else we add these together. So it looks like n is 4 and r is 2. So 4 minus 1 is 3 and 2 minus 1 is 1. Now let's see here. R in this case is 3 and n is 1. 3 is greater than or equal to 0, so that returns 1 right there. No, wait, did I do that wrong? R? Alright, sorry, I read that wrong. R needs to be greater than or equal to n, but n is 4 and r is 2, so I read that wrong. So 3, so 1 is not greater than or equal to 3. So we come down here, we have 3 and 1. So what do we got here? N is 2. And r is 0. So is 0 less than or equal to 0? Yes. So we have a 1 right there. And then right here, what do we got here? We got n, which is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. And r, which is 1 right there. So let's see. N is not equal to 0, r is not less than or equal to 0, and r is not greater than or equal to n. So we come down here and we have 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So right here, this is r. R is less than or equal to 0, so we return a 1 down. And then 1 comma 1, 1 is greater than or equal to, so they're equal, so it does 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 gets passed up back to here, and this was already 1, so 1 plus 2 is 3. So 3 gets passed up to this one right here. Okay, so this one, this top one, unknown, right here, that one is complete. Okay, and then return 3 at the end. So now we got to come down here in 3 comma 2. 3 comma 2, so n is 3, r is 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. None of the criteria up here are met with this, so we do 2 comma 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, so that gets hit here, so it returns 1. And 1 comma 1, they're equal, so right there, that returns 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. It gets passed up to this one right here, so this is done. And 2 comma 2, they are equal if we pass that in. So then 1's returned. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 gets passed back up to here, and then we got 3 plus 3 equals 6. Okay, now this is, in my opinion, easier to follow through when you're doing it step by step and you're drawing out the boxes step by step, as opposed to just looking at the final answer and then trying to look through all the arrows and how it works. But again, I can't fit all this on one screen with that pen. It's really bad. 5 must ask how many times this gets called. How many times does unknown get called? So you can kind of go through it. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, back up to here, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11. Okay, and this is the sequence of it, so that might be helpful to kind of look through. And finally, last one, we've got this weirder. So we got P and Q, and we must start off with 2 each. So P is 2, Q is 2. So if P is 1, then we return this. P plus 1. If it's 0, Q is 0, then we do a recursive call to that. Else we do a recursive call to this. So 2 and 2. Q's, P's not 1 and Q's not 0, so we do this one. So we do weirder, which is what? 2 minus 1 would be 1 right there. and then we've got weird right here, 2 comma, and then 2 minus 1 is 1, so that calls this one right here. Okay, 2 and 1. So Q and P is not 0 and Q is not 1. So 1 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1 right here. And what do we got? 2. And then 1 minus 1 is 0. So in this case, Q is 0 this time. So we do weird 2, 0. And that would call this one right here, which is weird 2 minus 1, which is 1, and Q is 0. Okay. And then right here, P is 1, so it calls this one and it returns P plus 1, which is 1 plus 1, which is 2. That gets popped back up to here, gets popped back up to here, it gets popped back up to here. Okay, and so we're done. The only thing is, because look at these, none of these added anything. These two never added or did anything. The only one that did was that one. So we added it up, we went back through the stack, and the final answer is 2. Okay, so anyway, that's this. I would definitely practice this, because these are the type of questions that are going to be on your AP test and what you'll be graded for. And so, again, I tell everybody, like, at first, recursion looks really complicated and it's hard to follow, but once you guys practice this out and do all these problems, this is easy layup stuff, where this is where you get your bread and butter points and make sure you get your passing score. So anyway, make sure you're able to do all this, writing this out by hand. So this video's done.